Good evening, everyone. I, Ms. Aditi Gaikwad, welcome you all on this great event. We are here to unleash the creativity by the DesignScape event 2023 of Google Developer Student Club and Association of Computer Engineering Students of R. College of Engineering, Management Studies and Research, NASA. So before beginning, let's have a look over our agenda for the day. Introduction, followed by the achievements, journey, domain, and roadmap. Last but not the least is the Thanksgiving. A tip for the day, just have a book and a pen with you so that you don't skip anything today. A special thanks to the chief guest of the day, Atharva Taras. It's an honor to be graced by the presence of such an accomplished personality. Atharva Taras is a versatile talent with a unique blend of the technical expertise and artistic creativity. Graduating from AISSMS, Institute of Information Technology, Pune, with a degree in Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. Atharva is not just an academic achiever but also a multidisciplinary CG artist. With over 3 years of experience in the field, Atharva has made significant contributions as the media lead at Gigs for Gigs student chapter, showcasing exceptional leadership skills. Additionally, Atharva serves as the chief editor of AISA Technical Magazine, demonstrating a passion for technology and knowledge sharing. Talking about Mr. Atharva Taras, with the honor of being named India's first NFT spotlight artist on a collaborative platform, Atharva Taras is a shining example of creativity in the digital sphere. His artistic brilliance further radiated as he became a featured artistic on platforms like Reliable and Somnium Space in the same year, showcasing his unique and captivating creations to the world. In recognition of his exceptional talent, Atharva was nominated for the 7th Genesis Grant in 2021, a testament to his innovative prowess. His creativity reached the new heights as he emerged victorious in the Render Royal competition in 2023, solidifying his position as a trailblazer in the digital art sphere. Atharva Taras has not only excelled in the individual competitions but has also showcased his skills on a collaborative stage. He clinched the title of the winner on in the AISA logo making competition in 2022 and displaying his ability to blend the artistic vision with the technical expertise seamlessly. Furthermore, Atharva's artistic journey has been marked by notable collaborations. He had the privilege of working alongside prominent EDM artists such as Heist Music, CO06, Tay Henry, and Dr. Ozzy from 2020 to 2022, creating a visually stunning and immersive experience in the realm of electronic music. Atharva also made waves in the music industry by collaborating with the Trap Nation in 2021, a testament to his versatility and creativity and adaptability. His collaboration with the acclaimed artist Frederic Ducati in the same year further solidified his reputation as an artist with a unique and compelling vision. In summary, Atharva Taras is not just an artist, he is a visionary, a collaborator, and a winner in every sense. We are incredibly fortunate to have him with us today to share his insights and experiences. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Atharva Taras, a true luminary in the world of digital creativity. Now let's have a look over some of his artwork. I know you all must be amazed, but I can amaze you even more. I would request my team to play the video. So now let's move forward with our guest, Mr. Atharva. I welcome you for this event.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Aditi. It's so nice to be here, and I hope to have a wonderful evening with you guys. So, speaking of how it started, I was always fascinated about VFX and animation and movies, and I always wanted to give it a try. And then during the lockdown, I finally got the chance. I had a lot of free time, so I decided to give it a try. In the beginning, it was very haphazard. I couldn't figure out the what software to use, how to get started, but eventually I got the knack of it, and I started learning eventually. I also started posting whatever I did on Instagram. Sometimes it used to be good, sometimes it used to be bad, but regardless, I just kept on posting, and that's how my entire journey started. A big turning point was a video I watched on YouTube by Beeple. He's also known as Mike Winkelmann. He's a very famous CG artist. So after watching his video, I think that was the I would say that is what pushed me to pursue this field, and that's how it all started. Then eventually, sometime in 2021, I found myself in the middle of the NFT wave. So that's when I got to network with a lot of artists. That was a time when cryptocurrencies had started emerging and there was this new NFT tech. It took me to some time to figure it out, but I caught on eventually. And I think that is also one of the major reasons that I got to showcase myself on a very big scale and to a lot of people. And speaking of how I got into freelancing, so back in 2020, this a music producer based in South Carolina, he just DM'd me out of nowhere, and he said that he was building a website and he wanted me to make a banner for his website, and he also mentioned that he would pay for it. So I was really excited back then. I had never thought of selling my services like this, and that was my first client. That is how it all started, and then eventually I got more into this field. I networked with a lot of people, and 3 years later, this is where I am. Right now, I am not doing much of art because college is a priority for me right now. But yeah, I still do it and I still enjoy it, and I look forward to sharing you some of my things, some of the things that I've learned so far in this session. Moving on, I'll just share my screen. I have a mood board for you guys. Okay, so I would like to start with the different verticals in graphic design. This is where most people, in the digital art industry, this is where most people start to learn. And so I would also like to start with it from this topic. Graphic design is a very vast field. Like there are so many things you can do in graphic design. There's logo design. You can make cover artworks. You can make book covers. You can make banners. You can do product design, magazines, etc. There's so much to do and so much to learn. And this is the field where you can there is a whole spectrum of different skills that you can have. Like Just having knowing Photoshop or just knowing how to paint is not enough. So depending on what you're interested in and what you find more what you're more curious about, you can pick what you like and learn about it accordingly. So here I have a few examples for you guys. I think you guys are mostly aware about how photo editing works, so we'll just skip to graphic design. I have a few examples. So the first one is cover artworks. So people usually make cover artworks for Spotify and SoundCloud. Now we all listen to Spotify and we know like the different artworks that the artists use. So this is a very big industry in itself, and most artists prefer to get a custom made cover artwork that matches the theme of their song or whatever music they're playing. So this is one of the major fields in graphic design. This is also a type of cover artwork. Then we have poster designing, again a very big vertical, I would say, in graphic design. And here this is the part where you can stand out from the entire crowd with your creativity. So if you just go on Fiverr or on Upwork, you will find a lot of artists, a lot of graphic designers. But the thing is, most of them will use predefined templates or reuse their designs. But what makes you stand out in this field in art is your creativity. Technical ability is always secondary. Your creativity comes first, and that is what I've always thought. Then there's also logo design. So logo design also comes into graphic design. This is a bit more advanced. Once you get the knack of the basics, then you can hop into this. Then again, we have some posters here, some magazines. Here we have product design again. Um a very interesting field. I have never touched it, but I see a lot of people going into this nowadays. And if you're someone who likes to make content or who is into advertising and stuff, this is really cool, and this is something you can pursue. I have a few examples for you. So this is some sort of cream, then perfume. Like you can. This is just to show you examples of like how people take different elements and different ideas and how they put it together. So this is what makes them stand out more than compared to what their technical ability is. And actually, this is not enough to sum up all the different verticals of graphic designing, but I have covered the major ones. Like we have got product packaging, flyers, posts, banners, logos, etc. So this is what you can pursue. This is the very, I would say, the entry level in digital art. So people usually start with this, although I did not start with graphic designing. But I think if you are someone who is trying to start out, this is where you should start. Then we have concept art. So this is a very interesting field. Concept art. Let's say whenever you are watching a movie or maybe playing a video game, there is a lot of effort and work that goes into making that, and it all starts with concept art. So basically, what people do is the directors or the writers, they have an idea in their mind of how the movie should be or how the video game should be, and then they hire a bunch of concept artists and they convey their idea verbally. And now it is the job of the concept artist to turn that into an image, so to visualize the idea. And this is the part where your creativity and your imagination comes in, because every person has a different imagination. So what the director or the writer is looking for is multiple perspectives, and that's where a concept artist comes in. And again, there are many verticals in concept art. So you have photorealistic concept art like here, which is usually for film and TV or movies. Then you have something more hand painted style like this, something to go with the cartoons or maybe comic books. And here I have a small example for you. So this is how the whole concept art process goes. You first make a rough sketch, and then you build upon it. Then you add more details. Then you add some more fine touches, and this is how you end up with the end result. And all of these paintings that I'm showing you here, all of them have gone through this process. So that's how concept art is made. And again, there are so many different varieties of concept art. Like there's 2D concept art, there's 3D concept art, there's matte painting again. So this is an example of a matte painting. This is painted using a digital brush, maybe in I guess Photoshop or Krita. This one is 3D concept art. So part of this is 3D, and then the touch up is done using other image manipulation software. Again, this is an example of 3D concept art. This one is hand painted. So this is one of the major fields in digital arts, concept art. And if you are looking forward to be a professional, or do art as a full-time career instead of a hobby, then I think concept art is something that you should look into, because graphic designing, as I said, it's entry level. So you'll find a lot of artists getting into this field, and it's very saturated, I would say. But concept art is still, I would say, not that saturated, and there is a lot of scope and a lot of requirement in this field. So yeah, there you have it: concept art for digital painting, illustration, portrait, caricature. Portraits and caricature, I haven't included any examples here, because that is more complicated. You have to go into anatomy and that sort of studies, and even caricature is too advanced if you're just starting out. So this is something you can look into afterwards, when when you are just done with graphic design, or when you are entering concept art. Then coming to 3D art and design. So this is what I mostly do as an artist. This is my favorite part of making art. I've included some of my artworks in here. So again, this is a huge field. Like I mentioned, there's 3D concept art. So I have a few examples here. This one is by Max Hay. He's a really cool artist. You should check him out if you find the time. Again, like, there's all sorts of stuff in here. There's photorealistic stuff. Then you'll find abstract stuff like this. Um, and there's, no particular application as such for this. Like, once you know 3D, you can use it anywhere. Like, once you learn how to use 3D software, you can make 3D animations out of that. You can make cool artworks out of that. You can do almost anything. So we have 3D animations, visual loops. I'll come to this later. And again, 3D modeling. So even in 3D, when you go into the 3D pipeline, there are multiple things that a 3D artist needs to do to produce a final output like this, an image like this. So there's modeling. Modeling is basically creating the objects around you. Then texturing. So texturing, you can think of it like painting something or making a painting, but except it's in 3D. So you have to paint a three-dimensional object. Then there's rigging. So rigging is used in animation to simulate bones and muscles. And simulation, this the simulation here refers to fluid simulation. Then there's physics simulation. So when you're trying to make a realistic animation, this comes in handy. And there are technical artists who specialize in making simulations, who know how to code and who are good with algorithms, who are hired in large movies to make simulations specifically. And lastly, we have game design. So in video games also, we 3D video games especially, we make use of a lot of 3D assets. And so even game designers, they make use of all these aspects of 3D designing. Now coming to visual loops and concert visuals, I have a few examples for you guys. So this is an animation I made for an EDM artist, which was mentioned before. His name is Dr. Ozzy. Most of the work that I do for clients is bound by a non-disclosure agreement, so I can't show all of it. But this one is in public domain, so I can play it for you. This one hits like a Boston star. Yeah, and this is an example of a VJ loop. So there's all sorts of different VJ loops you can make, and these are mostly used in concert visuals. So if you're someone who is into EDM music, or if you've seen some videos of concerts, these people have some looping visuals going on in the background. So even these have a huge demand. People like to have these audio visual, I can say, installations that sync with their audio and make animations accordingly. So this is again an interesting vertical that you can check out. Now coming to the software. So this is what most people get stuck at when starting out, and this is where I was also stuck. Like, I did not know where to start. So I first tried out Cinema 4D. It's a paid software, but it does come with a free trial. and I just couldn't use it. So then I switched to Blender, which is free and open source. Again, this is a really cool piece of software. Uh, I'll come to it later. But covering some free softwares, if you're a beginner and you don't want to pay for software, so this is some free software. Some of it is even open source that you can try out. So Krita, it is good for concept art. So if you're into digital painting, you can try out Krita. Digital painting, what I mean is digital painting by hand. So if you are someone who uses a stylus and a graphics tablet, so that type of digital painting goes good with Krita. Otherwise, if you are someone who wants to use Photoshop, then Photopea is a good alternative. It is cloud based and works exactly like Photoshop. It is free to use with some limitations, but it will get the job done. GIMP is again an alternative for Photoshop. So even this has all the features, but usually if you can, if it's possible, just switch to Photoshop, because sooner or later you'll have to move to Photoshop, as it is the industry standard. Then we have Inkscape. So Inkscape is a vector graphics program similar to Illustrator. What vector graphics are like, usually what the images we make, they are raster graphics, so they are defined by pixels. But vector graphics, they are defined by equations. So if you have something that needs to be scaled up a lot, so let's say like logos, so those are designed in Inkscape, so that there is no loss of quality. And coming to video editors, the good ones here are DaVinci. DaVinci is paid, but it also comes with a free version, and it's really good. It has some very nice color grading solutions. And then we have Shortcut. Shortcut is very lightweight and easy to use. If you're a beginner who doesn't know how to edit videos or who is just starting out, Shortcut will be very user friendly for you. And lastly, I think everyone knows about Canva. Canva is again a free to use cloud based photo manipulation software. Then coming to the industry standard softwares, so we have Photoshop, After Effects, and Premiere Pro. Photoshop, I guess everyone has heard about. And the problem is that why you need to use Photoshop is that whenever you are working in a team, or whenever you are working in a project where your final product is going to be passed on to some third party, and they need to use it further for their project. In that case, you need to use Photoshop because it has very good compatibility. Otherwise, if you use GIMP or Krita, let's say, those files won't be compatible with other software. And same goes with the other software like Premiere Pro and After Effects for video editing. These are used. Premiere Pro is largely used in film and TV, and After Effects is used by visual artists, like people who make VJ loops and stuff. So this is very popular. Although I've never used Premiere Pro and After Effects, but this is what people usually like to use. Then coming to 3D software, we have Autodesk Maya. um, this is what the industry standard is right now, and even people in colleges, they are taught how to model and render using Autodesk Maya. So that's why most people tend to use this. ZBrush is a dedicated software for sculpting. So sculpting is slightly different from 3D modeling. In 3D modeling, what you have to do is, let's say, you can think of 3D modeling as making something out of pieces of Lego, and sculpting is something like making something out of clay. So it sounds and looks very similar, but they are slightly different. And lastly, we have Filmora. So this is not exactly an industry standard, but it's a paid editor, but I really like it. If you are someone who is into making reels, or you want to edit videos on the fly, then this is really a good piece of software. It comes with built-in transitions and built-in effects, so it works really good with that. Now, moving on, I was talking about the software pipeline. So this is how a software pipeline works. Whenever you are working in a project, regardless if you're a freelancer or if you are working in a team, so this is how it goes. First, we have the pre-production stage. Now, let's say you are building some product design. You are designing a cover or a box for a product. So this is all the stuff that goes before you start designing. So this is the pre-production stage. And here, now you have multiple stacks of software. So for creating mood boards, some people might use Figma, some people might use whiteboard, like I'm using right here. Then moving on, when you actually start making the actual product, Let's say you are five different artists, and each one of them has been given a different task. So one of them is using Photoshop, one of them is using GIMP, one of them is using Krita. What happens is, in the end, all of these three are not compatible with each other, and that becomes a disadvantage. So whenever you are working in a team, people will generally ask you to use industry standard software, or they will ask you to use Photoshop. And that's a limitation, I know, because when you're starting out, you can't afford to pay for this. It might be expensive. So that's something you need to look into. But otherwise, if you're working as an individual freelancer, or working under someone like who just needs the final product from you, like nobody else is going to make any changes to what you're making, then in that case, you can use any of these softwares. In fact, when I started out, I didn't have Photoshop, so I started out with GIMP, and then eventually I switched to Photoshop. And most of this is transferable. Like when you learn to use a particular software, the terminology, or whatever the words they use for different tools and etc., they are all same in other software. Only the difference is UI. And GIMP is actually really good. 99% of the time you can get your work done with the GIMP, but there's those small 1% of tools, or the 1% of features that are specific to Photoshop that you won't find anywhere else. And that for those 1% of tools, you have to switch to Photoshop. But again, as a beginner, you can just stick to GIMP. And here I have another example of the design process. So you have the brief, where you get the information from the client, like what is his expectation, and what he or she wants from you. Then the research phase. So this is where you have to research. You have to yourself go onto the product page, or whatever the client is. Like, for example, he's a music producer, so you have to yourself go and search for his music, listen to his music, check out his previous artworks and stuff, like what he likes to use. Then you have to generate ideas. So this is where you make your own mood boards and share with your client. And based on this, he will give you the feedback. And after you receive the feedback, that's when you start designing. And this is the longest stage. Like, it's sometimes you tend to get into a feedback loop. You make something, the client will ask you to change it, then you'll again change it, then he'll ask you to change it again. And eventually, if all goes well, you'll be done with the design. And that's how the life cycle goes. Like, I've explained it in very, I would say, layman's terms. The actual process is quite long, but eventually you'll get the hang of it. Like, right now it might sound very complicated to a lot of you guys, but slowly and eventually you'll figure out how to do it. So now, coming to okay, I think, just a second, have I covered everything? Yeah. Coming to what software is best for you. So there's no such thing as best software. You have to find what you are comfortable with, and what works with you. Something to take into consideration is your hardware, like what system you are using. Especially if you are working with 3D, you might want to upgrade to a better computer, or something that has a graphics card in it. But otherwise, for Photoshop or for graphic design, everything works fine. And like I said again, it depends. Most of the time, it depends on your client, like what he needs. You have to work with that. But otherwise, what I would suggest to everyone who is just starting out, even if it's paid software, there is free trial available for everything. So just get the free trial for each and every software, spend a week with that, see if it works for you. If it doesn't work, then you can switch to something else, or if it works, then you can continue with that. And moving on, before I move to the portfolio, I would like to talk about the freelancing side. So speaking of freelancing again, I haven't used most of these sites. I mostly work with Fiverr and Upwork, and in fact, I don't even use Fiverr and Upwork that much. I usually get my clients through Instagram and ArtStation. Rest of these you can test out. I have heard that People Per Hour is very good. Some of my friends use this, and 99 Designs is also very good. But apart from that, I can't tell you much about these. So Fiverr, I would say, is a very crowded market, and the thing with Fiverr is that you will find a lot of designers who are already experienced and have had multiple clients. So whenever you search for a particular, let's say, artist, let's say if you're searching for a graphic designer, you will find that there are multiple people who have like had thousands of clients and thousands of five-star reviews. So they are the ones who dominate the field. And even if you sign up on Fiverr as a beginner, you are highly unlikely to get hired, because people will prefer someone who has already worked and someone who already has good ratings. So Fiverr used to be good few years ago, but now it's very saturated. So I would not recommend Fiverr to you guys. Now coming to Upwork, Upwork is actually good. So Upwork has a sort of a bidding system, I would say. So in Upwork, what people do is the client does not approach you; you have to approach the client. So the client will post a job based on his or her requirements. He will say that I need XYZ work done. I have, this is my timeline, this is my budget, and this is my expected output. So based on that, you can submit a cover letter, and they have this very good connect system. So you can send a set number of connects, and based on how many connects you send, your what you can say, your application goes on top. So the higher number of connects, the higher your chances of getting selected. And Upwork will give you free connects every month. I think there are 60 connects, free connects every month. So that is a good system. And Upwork also has a very nice um, artist protection. Like if you're working as an artist or whatever you are, whatever service you're offering, Upwork has you protected. There's payment protection. So with other sites sometimes there's an issue that people don't pay, and people just vanish out of nowhere. So what Upwork does is Upwork will ask the clients to pay upfront. You won't immediately receive the money, but they will ask the clients to pay upfront. And if in case there's a dispute, most of the time, 99% of the time, Upwork will take care of it, and you will be compensated for all your work. And apart from that, you can also bring third party clients. So let's say if someone does not use Upwork, a client, and he wants to get work done from you, so you can ask them to come on Upwork. They don't have to sign up, they don't have to do anything. They just have to connect the PayPal, and with that they can work with you on Upwork. And secondly, another good thing about Upwork is that they have hourly payments. So usually people on Fiverr or any other website, they charge you by project. So let's say you have a project, they'll say that my budget is $100 for this entire project. But on Upwork, you have a hourly system. So based on your skill, let's say if you are a beginner, you can easily expect a beginner 3D artist or a beginner graphic designer, you can easily expect to get paid $10 an hour. Now this is again negotiable. Usually clients negotiate and it's much lower. But if you're working on a large project, Upwork has a work diary system, and it also has a recording software. So it will calculate the number of hours you have worked, and it will bill the client accordingly. So that is really great. And so far I have found that Upwork is the best of all of these. But the catch is that it is difficult to get into Upwork. Like if you try and apply, most of the time your application will get rejected. So one hack that I found that worked for me, I don't know if it will work for you, is that search for services that are not highly available on Upwork. So if you apply as a graphic designer, you won't get selected probably. But let's say if you apply as a engineer or a machine learning specialist, even though you don't have the skills, you can just apply, and later on in the settings you can change your work experience and your interested fields. That's how I got it. Like I applied as a data scientist, but then later on I changed it to graphic design, and that's how I got into Upwork. Otherwise, if you just apply as an artist or as a graphic designer, it's quite difficult to get in. And I think that brings me to the end of this section. Moving on, coming to the portfolio. So, as an artist, it is very important to have a portfolio. A portfolio does not need to be much, but it should be a collection of your best work. So, Instagram does not count as your portfolio because you can upload anything on Instagram. So portfolio, we have three major websites, that is ArtStation, Behance, Pinterest, and lastly you can also build your own website. Wix and WordPress are some good places to start. They come with templates, so you don't have to spend a lot of time creating your own website. Otherwise, since most of you guys are from a technical background, you know how to do web development. You can also try GitHub pages. So I just show you my portfolio. This is ArtStation, and again, it's just simple. If you just go to the explore page, this is where most people like to upload their art. Most people have their portfolios on, and whenever you upload your artwork or whatever it is, based on the field, like suppose if you put the hashtag abstract or like motion graphics, So in that particular field, it will automatically come to the top. So this is based on time. It is not based on likes. So whoever is uploading, it is getting sent to the field event like immediately. And the advantage of this is like people who are searching for professional artists, they usually come to ArtStation, and if they like your art, they will contact you. So this is a good place to start. Then we have Pinterest. Pinterest is again a good place. So Pinterest, people usually use this for making mood boards, or when they are trying to find inspiration. And I also use Pinterest to find inspiration. But this could also be a good portfolio website. Like I know some people who have had portfolios on this site, and this also looks great. I mean, this format overall, like card style, and you can see a lot of stuff in a single frame. I really like this format. So this is also a good place to start. And if you post on ArtStation, whenever you upload a new post, you automatically get the option to post it to Pinterest. So if your Pinterest is connected to your ArtStation, it will get posted there automatically. Then we have Behance, and Behance is very popular among graphic designers. So like this is the platform. If you're a graphic designer, this is the first thing you should be on. Uh, Again, I don't do much of graphic design, so I have my 3D artworks in here. Some AI generated stuff as well. I'll come to this later. Why about AI generated stuff versus artists later on in this presentation. But Behance is also a good place to be. And the major advantage of Behance is that it does not have a file limit. So if you try to post on ArtStation, it won't let you upload beyond like say 1080p or maybe 2140p. But on Behance, you can go 4K, 8K, and there is no such limit to how many artworks you can post in a single post. So in ArtStation, let me give you an example. Yeah, so like here I have two images to show this is the behind the scenes content and this is the actual artwork. So like this, I can post maximum of I think 20 or 30 images in a single scene. And this is not good if you have a very large project and you want to show all the entire working, like how you got the idea, how you developed the concept. If you want to show all of that, which is actually very important for a portfolio website, if you want to show that, then ArtStation is it is limiting you. But otherwise, Behance has no such limit, so you can upload as many images as you want and in a single thread. So here I have like, I guess I have like 100 images in here. Yeah, so there's no limit to Behance. And lastly, we have the website. So this is my portfolio website. I created it like around 2 years ago. It's not updated, but it didn't take me very long to create. Like 2 to 3 hours is enough. Once you have all your stuff sorted out, you can make a website like this easily. I made mine using Wix, and initially there is no such need to connect a domain. So right now, if you can see, I don't have a custom domain. Like it was hot first official wixsite.com/etc. So you don't need to have a domain under your name because that is expensive. And again, if you're using a domain and you try to connect it to WordPress or maybe Wix, then it comes as an additional cost. I think it's around 1,500 or like 1,000 per month or per year. I don't know. But again, this is some additional cost that you don't want to get into as a beginner. So having a single page static website is also enough. You don't have to go over the top. Then once you start getting more clients, or once people start asking for your website, then later on you can add multiple pages like this. Yeah, so you can add pages like these. You can showcase your work. You can let people know about who you have worked for. So you can get reviews from all your clients, and you can put them on your website. So based on these reviews, people get to know that okay, this is the guy. This person is a genuine person, and I'd like to work with him. And then you can add a contact page, etc. But what I found is from my experience that compared to having a portfolio website or ArtStation, Behance, Instagram has been the best place for finding new people, networking in general, because 80% of the people I've worked with, they have found me through Instagram. And the reason being that normal people, I mean, anybody might require graphic design services, or maybe art based services. Some people might want to get a portrait for their friend or for gifting purposes. So people like these are not aware, like general public is not aware about ArtStation and Behance. This is for the pros. So People like these usually scroll on Instagram, Facebook every day. So this is a place where you can showcase your work, and that will work pretty well for you as a beginner. And I would say when you're starting out, don't worry about whether it is whatever you have made looks good or not, or what people think about it. Just keep on posting, because initially when you're starting out, to get that validation and to get that attention, I would say you need to have quantity more than quality. Eventually, yes, you have to make good stuff, and reduce the it will eventually reduce the frequency at which you post. When I started out, I used to make one artwork every day and post it every day, but now I barely post anything in a month, but still it works. So that's how it is. Like Instagram just works better. And moving on, let's see where we are. Okay, here. Yeah, coming to the cherry on top. So there's a few more topics that I would like to cover. When I spoke about freelancing, there's one more option if you do not wish to work with websites, and that is doing freelancing by yourself. So there's a few risks with that, but I'll come to that. Uh, so, like I said, people might contact you through Instagram or through Facebook. So that's where you can, directly work with people instead of asking them to go through websites. And again, one catch with website is that they have a platform fee. So they'll easily take 15 to 30% of your earnings as platform fee. That could again be a negative. But how do you establish trust? Like, how do you know that a stranger you're working with is going to pay you? And that is something that happened with me. Like a lot of people I worked with did not pay, or like just disappeared. So there's a what I would say a solution for that, and that is using contracts. So I would not recommend you to copy this as is, because a contract is you need to verify this with someone who knows how it works. This is specific to me, and I have modified this according to my needs. But you can have a contract like this in general, which includes your fees, rates, your payments, refunds, what happens if they want a refund, and the client details, how you will be sending them the file, how you will be communicating. So this is quite huge. I think 11 pages long, and it will take you some time to make or draft a contract like this. Back when I made this, I didn't have ChatGPT, but now you can use ChatGPT, and this will be much easier. And what happens when you have a contract is, firstly, you look more professional, and secondly, the thing is, once you sign a contract, this becomes a legal document. And if the person in front of you, like if the client does not pay you, you can take legal action against him or her. So that way, once you have the contract signed from somebody, they are very less likely to um, just disappear out of nowhere. So this is a good thing to have. I will try and share a simplified version of this and put it in the video description later on after this session is over. And secondly, to send invoices, you can create a basic invoice template. I picked this up from Google Sheets. So whenever you open Google Sheets, it will give you a template, and just edit it according to my preference. Add your logo if you want, some basic details, then the dates, etc., and the client details go here. And what this does is making invoices and having contracts makes you look more professional. And this is what people want. Like, so let's say I am a client and you are an artist. I am approaching you and you are a stranger to me. So there's some things that you need to do to prove to me that you are a legit person and that you are not trying to scam me. Same goes both ways. Like even for the artist, the client needs to prove that okay, he or she is a legit person, and that's why like here you can see I ask for their contact details, etc. So again, if you're asking for somebody's contact details and personal information, you have to make sure that you take care of it, that it doesn't go anywhere, it stays with you. And that's about it with freelancing in general, like making contracts and stuff. Just let me check if I'm missing out on anything. Let me check in my notes. By the way, if you have any questions, just keep adding your questions in the chat. Once I'm done presenting, I'll answer those. Okay, yeah. Coming to AI versus artist. So if you might have noticed, this is me. Like few months ago. where I was totally against AI generated images, and not in the sense that I hate AI generated art or that I'm scared that it might take away my job. The problem with most AI generated images is that they were trained on data sets that were made of images from other artists without their consent. So, for example, ArtStation is a huge repository of images, and these was just scraped, and the people used it to make their own models. And what happened is, let's say, if you take any famous artist and you ask the AI to generate XYZ painting in the style of this particular artist. So it could do that. So what is happening is the artist is not getting paid for his work. He is not getting any recognition for his work, but the company who made the AI, they are making money out of that, and they also haven't taken any permission from the artist. So this is why me and most other artists were like against this, especially Mid Journey, because Mid Journey was not at all transparent with what it was doing. But I think they have fixed it now. You can no longer give prompts um, based on the name, artist name, or specific artist site. So that has been fixed now. And speaking of how AI is helpful, and will AI go against you as an artist? The short answer is yes, and the long answer is no. Why yes? Because if you're just starting out, if you're just a beginner, so doing basic things like generating mockups or generating ideas. Like I said, whenever you are designing something, there's an ideation phase. So whatever is required in the ideation phase, the AI is more than enough capable of doing that. But once you go beyond that, once you want professional work that is very accurate, and good looking, that's where AI fails. And AI cannot generate, how do I put it? AI cannot generate something out of its own mind. Like, it will always make something that it has previously seen, and this is where your creativity comes in. So again, the major leverage or major advantage over AI that a human artist has, I would say, is creativity, because eventually even this will get advanced enough that it can generate images with high resolution, high fidelity, and that look good as good as our human generated images. In fact, they have already started doing that. But as long as you're creative, I said this before, like as long as you're creative, it does not matter what your technical ability is or what software you're using. You will still be successful in whatever field you're working when it comes to art and design. And the next thing I would like to add, yeah, um, when you're freelancing, you'll always find scammers like these. So like I mentioned, a lot of people disappeared without paying. So that is one type of scam that happens, which can be solved by contracts. But another thing that you need to take care of is people will contact you with these links. Like they will say, "Okay, I work with XYZ company. This is our requirement. Can you please go through this link? We have mentioned all the details here." And the problem is when you once you go to this link and you download the software, it turns out to be ransomware. A lot of my friends, who had crypto wallets, they got hacked, and all of their money was gone in a second. Like, so be very careful with these. Whenever you click on a link, check if it's genuine, and try to verify with other people if they've heard of this person or if they've heard of this company, and be safe out there. And I think that's about it. I guess I've covered everything that I had for you. Let me check with the presentation again. um, yeah, so I'm open to answering your doubts. Please let me know if you have any doubts. Sarvesh Joshi. Yeah, thank you, Sarvesh. That's nice to hear.
Thank you, Atharva.
Guys
That
would
was
like me to
absolutely
elaborate on it.
fantastic. I'm sure our audience is buzzing with the insights about the design industry now. Your expertise has truly enlightened us. Now, if you guys have any doubt over this event or anything related to designing, we are open to that. You can share your doubts in the chat box.
Okay. Um, Oi Tani is saying, I want to get started with Blender. Can you please provide some tips? Blender actually it has a very good community. Oh right, coming to Blender, actually I would like to show you how the entire thing works. So I the animation I showed you in the beginning. So this is how it looks inside Blender. It's quite easy to use, and actually when I switched from Cinema 4D to Blender, I really found it helpful. And one more advantage of Blender, it has a real-time rendering engine. It's called EV. So if you are working with anything else, let's say Cinema 4D or Maya, they don't have a real-time renderer, so you have to spend some money getting new hardware. But otherwise, Blender is really cool. So here, one second. Here I have the scene. Just to give you a basic intro to the interface. This is a very cluttered scene, so might not be a really great example. But otherwise, it has a lot of things that you can do. I have another example for you guys. Yeah. So this is what Blender looks like, and it's very user friendly actually. Any software, any 3D software, when you look at it for the first time, it might look intimidating and it might look very confusing. But try to spend like maybe, like I said, a week or two, and you'll get the hang of it. And there's so many things to learn inside Blender. Like it's not just about 3D. It has, you can see, a different section for video editing. You can do scripting. So if you're someone who is good with Python, you can use Python code to, you can write your own code and modify the software to work according to you. Then you also have compositing. So compositing happens after you're done with the rendering. This is also done for videos, etc. When you want to add different filters and different post effects. Then animation. It also has an animation suite. So this is very good. And shading. This is the most, I would say, the most interesting part about Blender, and I enjoy spending my time in this. So you can use math and procedural nodes. So this is called a node-based workflow. What we usually do in Photoshop or any 2D painting software is a layer-based workflow. So we stack one layer of images on top of another layer of images. This is a node-based workflow. So we generate an output from one node and use it as an input for another node. And combining the outputs of these multiple nodes, we can end up with a new image or a new texture for an object. So this is really cool, and there is an entire field dedicated to this. So there's a texturing artists who work with these, and there's a dedicated software called Substance Painter, which is based on this entire node-based workflow. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with Blender, and there's no such tip as such. If you just go on YouTube and you search for maybe try Blender Guru has a donut tutorial, which most 3D artists use to start their career. So that is really great.
I
Uh,
hope that answered your question, right? Kukuduku is asking, is graphic designing is a futuristic job?
okay, I don't know what you mean by futuristic exactly. Are you saying future proof, or what do you mean? What do you exactly mean by futuristic? There are a
Uh,
million or more NFTs. What makes an NFT stand out? As someone who is interested in that, I would also like to know how should I get started with that. Okay, coming to NFTs, um, right now, I would like NFTs seem to have died out right now, but that's not the case. What happened is initially during the NFT wave, most people did not understand what NFTs were, including artists and buyers. So the market eventually got saturated with, I would say, uh, not so good art or generative art. By generative art, I mean like art that is generated through software. So how do I put it? Um, whenever you, or let's say a person makes an image, like he or she has to spend the time in drawing it or painting it. But generative art is made through algorithms. So you just take a bunch of pre-made images and you layer them on top of another, and you make several permutations and combinations of that to generate like 10,000 images or 50,000 images. And there were so many generative art projects out there, and there were many scammers who used to pretend to be other artists. So since not a lot of artists got onto the NFT space in the beginning, what people did that they tried to imitate famous artists. They used to take their art and then sell it in their name. So even that caused a lot of bad PR. And eventually, when there was the huge market crash, the crypto crash, then this like most of the NFT seed died out. But again, I would say that when you're just starting out, I would say to recommend you to stay away from NFTs. Why? Because firstly, just to get an NFT minted, you have to spend money. Now they have made it free on most platforms, but it's not totally free. Like once you sell an artwork, you have to spend the pay for the minting fees. So that can be expensive sometimes. And secondly, your NFT has value only because of you. So let's say, for example, a very famous artist, okay, let's take example of Mona Lisa. Why is Mona Lisa so famous? Do you think it is because the painting looks very good, or is it because it was painted by Leonardo da Vinci? Both reasons are true, but mostly because it was painted by Leonardo da Vinci. Even if today he was alive and he just drew a line on a paper, it would sell for millions of dollars. Why? Because the value is not given to the painting, the value is given to the artist. So as an artist, try to build your own value, and whatever art you make will eventually gain your value. And that's the way to go, and that's how you can be successful in NFTs. Just if you're just starting out and you are not aware of the technicalities, or um, if your art is I would say, okay, now this is again a huge topic about critiquing art, and how you can you are not supposed to say, like, this is a controversial topic actually, critiquing someone's art. But I would say, if you're a beginner, like, people can make out, when people look at your art, people can make out, like, how long you have been making art for, or how professional it is and how good it is. So based on that, they will judge whether is it worth buying your NFT or not. So you have to work hard and make sure that it is worth it, and people should want to have there should be some demand for your art. That's when you can get into NFTs. Otherwise, if you're just starting out, I would just recommend you to um, keep away, because it is an expensive NFTs are an expensive hobby, I would say. And again, there is a lot of scams and so many things, controversies going on with NFTs and cryptocurrencies. The legal status of cryptocurrencies is like still in some kind of gray area. So um, start with art, yes, but eventually, when you are confident enough, you can move on to NFTs. Now I'm learning with Procreate application. Can you tell me more about it or guide with this? Okay, Kushal's art. Procreate is actually a very good tool. Unfortunately, I never got to use it because I don't have an Apple device. But Procreate is actually very good, and if you're using Procreate, I would say stick to that. You don't need Photoshop, because I think Procreate is also used by a lot of graphic designers. And can you tell me more about, or can you guide with this? You can go with concept art. I think most people use Procreate for concept art, and if I'm not wrong, people also use it for 2D animation. I'm not sure, but I have seen some people use it for that. But Procreate is like a very good piece of software. Like, I really love it, but I never got to try it. Swapnil Kale. Thank you, Swapnil.
It was an amazing session. Thanks, buddy. Amazing session. See if we can
See if
have
we can have
2.0 session. Thank you for the wonderful session. Got to learn lots of new stuff.
Okay, I think I have covered all the doubts.
Anyone is having any question? Okay. Hi, Atharva Taras. We want to extend a heartfelt thank you for attending our event. Your presence and participation helped to make it a memorable and engaging experience. We hope that you gained valuable insights and connections from the event. And we are looking forward to see you at our future events. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me here. It was fun, and hope everybody enjoyed the session. Thank you.